this video, you will look at how to enable UART registers in STM32. So before we get into STM32, first let's take a look at UART concept. UART is a type of serial communication. It works both in synchronous and asynchronous modes. UART is known best for its asynchronous type of communication. If we look at this diagram, the total number of lines required for this communication are 3 lines. In synchronous, there is the necessity for this clock line, while in asynchronous, there is no need of this clock line, so that makes maximum of 2 lines per asynchronous mode. This makes UART easy to set, and also UART has a maximum distance of 15 meters. So how is the data sent in this? Each byte of data is sent in a data frame. A data frame consists of 10 bits to 11 bits. A 10-bit data frame consists of 1 start bit and 8 data bits and 1 stop bit, while some use 2 stop bits instead of 1. And in 11-bit frame there is extra a parity bit. It can be even parity or odd parity. So in synchronous, UART works just like every other serial communication. The data bits are synchronized with the clock pulses, while in asynchronous the data bits are based on baud rate. So what's baud rate? Baud rate is number of bits transferred per second, and most standardly used baud rates are 2400, 4800, 9600, 19200, 38400. These are the commonly used baud rates. In asynchronous type of communication, how is the data recognized? If you take a look at this data bit in asynchronous communication, here you can see one bit is can be differentiated with 0. But how is it differentiated between these two zeros? It is done with the help of baud rate. Commonly used baud rate is 9600. So length of each bit is around 104 microseconds. Let's calculate 1 divided by 9600, which is around 1.04, that is 104 microseconds. So the UART recognizes each bit. Width of this high bit is 104 microseconds followed by a 0, and this 0 is checked for 104 microseconds followed by next 0. In this way data bits are recognized. Mostly the start bit for a data frame is 0 and the stop bit is data high. The STM32F1 series consists of total 2 to 3 UART, as they mentioned it in this datasheet. In this tutorial, I will be using UART1, and if we look at here, UART2 CTS pin A1, A0, A2, A3 are UART2s, which are present on bus 1 of the STM32, while UART1 is present on A8, A9, A10, A11 and A12. Since we are using asynchronous mode, we require A9 and A10 pins. If we are using synchronous, we may require clock line, that is on A8. So these are the pins we need to enable by using UART1. Okay, now let's look at the registers. In the UART section of this data sheet, we see that STM32 supports full duplex asynchronous communication. It has simple wire off duplex communication. It supports parity bit control, error detection flags. It has programmable transmit and reception baud rates up to 4.5 Mbps, and we can configure whether we need 1 stop bit or 2 stop bits. This is the status register. Whenever a flag is set, this is where we need to check whether the flag is set or not. If we look at TXC, TC, RX and E, these are the 3 main flags we will be checking while using UART. TXC stands for transmit data register empty. So whenever we try to send data through UART, once the data is emptied out from the register to the shift registers from where the data is transmitted out. Once this transmit data register is empty, the TXC bit is set in the status register. Here we have TC, which means transmit complete. This register set flag is set 1 when the data is transmitted out from the STM32, and RXNE, which stands for read data register not empty. So whenever we receive data from the other device to STM32, this flag is set, which means once we receive the data, that means there is data in our receive register. So this bit can be cleared by reading the data from this received register. These 3 bits are important because when we transmit data and we receive data, actually these two transmit register and the receive register both are present in the same physical location. So if the RXNE register is not present, we may not know that the data is received on our STM32, and we may overwrite it with transmit data. So we will be losing our received data. So whenever this register is 1, it means we have received data from the other device through UART. Similarly, when transmission is completed, means the data is sent out from the STM32, the transmit complete bit is set. So once the transmit complete bit is set, we are ready to transmit next bit by writing to transmit data register. These bits are set automatically by the software. So before we do anything, we need to clear these bits. For clearing these bits, we need to read the data register. Let's say when our RxNE bit is set 1, means the data is received. By reading the data from the data register, this bit is automatically cleared. Similarly, but once the transmission is completed, this bit is cleared by writing 0 to it. So these three are important flags in status register we need to look at. Now data register, this is the UART data register. This is where we are going to write our data to be transmitted out, or whatever the data is received to the STM32. This is a common 8-bit register for both transmission and reception. And this is the baud rate register. Here we are going to set the baud rate speeds. This is CR1 control register. So here we need to enable UE at the end of setting up all the register content. That is UART enable. M stand for word length. By default it is 0. Here we can see reset value, all are zeros. That means by default this word length is set to 0. That is one start bit, 8 data bits and stop bit. PEIE and TXIE are interrupt registers. So initially the PE and TXE bits are set in status register of this STM32. So if we want to create an interrupt, we need to enable interrupt followed by this PEIE TX bits. But in this we won't be needing this because we won't be using interrupt. Instead we will use simple polling method for better understanding. Similarly TCIE and RxIE, enabling these 2 bits produces an interrupt. Now let's look at CR2 register. By default all these are set for our user convenience. Here the one stop bit is set to 00, which is default, and clock polarity and clock idle low or high is also set by default. Here the clock pin is disabled by default, so we will be using asynchronous mode. If you want to use synchronous, you need to set this to 1. Now let's look at CR3 register. In this, I think there is no necessity to set this register if we are using basic UART. But if you want to use DMA, you need to set this DMAT register bit. Now let's look at how to calculate the baud rate. So this is the formula we need for baud rate generation. Here FCK is the clock. If you are using UART1 is present on bus 2 of this STM32 and the speed of the bus 2 is 72 MHz. If you are using UART2, which is present on bus 1 and it has a speed of 32 MHz. So depending upon that, we will be taking the value for FCK. So here we go guys, we will be setting F clock to 72 million. That means 72 MHz in hertz is 72 million. So and before that we will be moving baud rate to here and UART div to here. So we will be knowing what value to put in the UART div register. So if we need a baud rate of 9600, we will be setting it to 9600 here, and we will be dividing it by 72 million as you can see here. So we will be getting a value of 468.75. Now we will be converting this into hexadecimal to set this in the UART div register. So 468 is 1d4 in hex, while 0.75 will be setting this in the mantissa of this div register, and for that we need to multiply 0.75 into 16 to get the actual value that we must set in this mantissa register, that is C. We will be getting 12, the value in hex is C. So finally we will be setting 1d4c value in the div register. If you need 2400 baud rate, we will be calculating 2400 baud rate here instead of 9600.